welcome to Fox News Sunday.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
This week, it will be 1 year since Barack Obama was elected president. In that time, what has he done for and to the country?
I think it's all two. I don't think there's any for. Chris, I'm really worried. We've never seen this kind of radical leadership at such a high level of power in the country. I believe that the economy is under siege, is being destroyed. Anybody with any economic literacy would not do one thing this administration's done to try to revitalize the private sector. They're destroying it. And I have to think that it may be on purpose, because this is just outrageous what is happening. A denial of liberty, an attack on freedom. I mean, just a couple days ago, they talked about these 650,000 jobs that they've created or saved. There's no such thing as a saved job. Besides that, they've destroyed jobs. They've lost 3.3 million jobs in this country since Obama's stimulus plan, and it's going to get worse.
But wait a minute. How about save the country from a financial abyss? 3.5% growth in the third quarter in GDP.
There wasn't any growth in the private sector. That 3.5% came from two things: government spending on cash for clunkers. They just moved fourth quarter auto sales into the third quarter, and the first-time homebuyer thing. GDP equals CIG. That is consumers, investment of business, and government. And it's all G, it's all government. There is no private sector growth. There were no new jobs being created. We're losing them.
How about kept the country safe for 9 months?
I don't know how safe we are. Iran is nuking up everything that we've asked them to do. They are forgetting. They're not going to move their plutonium, their enriched plutonium, uranium out of the country like they said so. We can't make up our minds what we're going to do in Afghanistan. We're dithering there. I don't think we're any better off in any way it can be measured.
You have now taken to calling Mr. Obama the man-child president.
Right.
What does that mean?
Just he's immature. He's a child. I think he's got a 5-minute career. He was in the Senate for 150 days. He was a community organizer in Chicago for however number of years. He really has no experience running anything. He's very young. I think he's got an out-of-this-world ego. I think he's very narcissistic, and he's able to focus all attention on him all the time. That description is simply a way to cut through the noise and say he's immature, inexperienced, in over his head.
Let's talk about a couple of the big issues the president is dealing with now. First of all, Afghanistan. You suggest that he is taking all of this time to decide what to do in Afghanistan to keep his left-wing base on board for health care reform.
Well, it's partly that, but I also don't think he cares much about it. I think he wants...
Oh, come on.
No. See, this is... I know this is going to sound controversial, but I don't think he cares that. Chris, if he cared about... We've got soldiers and their families worrying about what we're going to do. The general on the ground said we need some more troops. The policy that he implemented in March, he now doesn't like, and is trying to figure out how best to make everybody happy here, politically, on his side of the aisle, and also for his image. You know, Democrats have a tendency to be seen as weak on defense, so he's battling with that. But again, if he cared about victory, remember he said about Afghanistan, victory is not something he's comfortable with, the concept. It reminds him of the Japanese surrendering on the USS Missouri. It made him very uncomfortable. He wants to manage this rather than achieve victory. He says these things. I don't know if people actually listen and have them register what he does.
But you say you don't know that he really cares. Do you at least give him credit for going to Dover, Delaware to honor the remains of soldiers, dead soldiers who came back from Afghanistan?
Now see, the politically correct thing to say here would be, oh yes, I am very impressed that President Obama decided to go show his concern for the remains, troops who've given their lives for freedom in this country. It was a photo op. It was a photo op precisely because he's having big-time trouble on this whole Afghanistan dithering situation. He found one family that would allow photos to be taken. None of the others did. And of course, when you have a sycophantic media following you around, able to promote and amplify whatever you want, then he can create the impression that he has all this great concern. But Bush did this. Just no cameras.
I don't know that he ever went to Dover, Delaware.
Well, he went to see families.
Yes, he certainly went to see families.
But he would make photo ops out of it.
But the argument would be that it was political of Bush not to be seen with the coffins because he was trying to hide the cost of war from the American people.
Well, I have the benefit of knowing George Bush a little bit, and I've seen him cry talking about missions that he's ordered. I think he has a great, profound, deep respect for the families of all military personnel, those who have died, and he's not going to use them.
But you don't think that Barack Obama has a profound respect for our soldiers and the families that are giving the sacrifice?
Chris, throughout the Iraq War, it was Barack Obama and the Democrat Party which actively sought the defeat of the U.S. military. They convened hearings and accused General Petraeus of lying. They said the surge would not work. Harry Reid stands up, waves the white flag. This war is lost. Jack Murtha is out saying our Marines at Haditha are guilty of rape. John Kerry is accusing our Marines of committing terrorism acts by going into the homes of Iraqis at midnight in the dark, terrorizing, looking for Al-Qaeda or whoever was there. Yeah, I mean, look, I hate to be honest with you here, but I do question their commitment to national security. I question their commitment to the U.S. military. They'll put their political survival and their political power being gained over anything else. They'll use anybody and throw anybody away in order to achieve it.
You also say that the president should give the generals, the commanders on the ground, as many troops as they need to win. But a staunch conservative like George Will says, look, this Afghanistan has been a dysfunctional country, it's a corrupt country, and that we can beat the Taliban and beat the Al-Qaeda without this huge commitment of new troops.
Well, I don't know that. I don't have the benefit of knowledge that George Will has. So I trust the experts, and to me, they're the people in the U.S. military. But these are you know, the surge in Iraq. Same thing we went, it worked. The Democrats were the ones opposed to it. They said it would fail, it wouldn't work, and by all measure, it did. Now the basic same theories are being suggested for Afghanistan, and I don't know. The thing that bothers me about this is we're there. You know, whether we should have gone or what we've done heretofore is now irrelevant. There's only one thing to do, win. You know, what about Afghanistan? Easy, we win, they lose.
Let's turn to health care reform. Yep. You have made no secret of the fact you oppose the public option, government-run health insurance to compete with private insurers. With tens of millions of Americans still uninsured, do you think that the government has any moral obligation to find some way to cover them?
There is a way to insure the uninsured without doing any of what we're doing. If that were the objective, then I'd be full for it. This is not about insuring the uninsured. This is not about health care. This is about stealing 1/6 of the U.S. private sector and putting it under the control of federal government. And when they get this health care bill, if they do, that's the easiest, fastest way for them to be able to regulate every aspect of human behavior, because it'll all have some related cost to health care, what you drive, what you eat, where you live, what you do. And there'll be penalties for violating regulations. It's going to be the biggest snatch of freedom and liberty that has yet occurred in this country.
And in 30 seconds, how do you insure the uninsured without this big overhaul?
Well, I've run the numbers, and the real number of uninsured that want insurance is 12 million. Take some of the unspent stimulus. We have 85% of the stimulus unspent. Take some of it. For 35 to 40 billion a year, you could insure those people. Not 2 trillion, not 1.4 trillion. That's the objective. Do it now.
Do you think the individual mandate is constitutional? Do you think...
No, I don't think the
government has the right
no.
to tell people, you're going to get health insurance, and if you don't get it, you're going to pay a penalty?
I do not think it's constitutional. Chris, these are dark days for the country. This is deadly serious stuff. This is a total attempt to remake the country as founded and constituted, and it worries me greatly.
We asked our viewers for some questions.
I love Fox viewers. I love them.
Well...
End of part 1.